Hi, thank you for joining. My name is Stacy Soderstrom with Central Washington University. Today's webinar is going to offer a brief introduction to Central Washington, our campus life, environment, where we're located, application process, and then we're going to have an in-depth look at our safety and health management program provided by Associate Professor Jennifer Cernay. Thank you for joining. So Central Washington University is located in Washington State here in the United States. We are on the West Coast where we border Canada just north of California. Washington State is the evergreen state. We are a beautiful place for students to live and study as we have all different types of environment like the ocean, mountains, a coniferous rainforest, and a high desert. There's many different parks, including state parks and national parks, for students to go outside and experience and enjoy nature. Within Washington State, Seattle is our largest city, home to companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing, and Starbucks. Central Washington University is located about a 2-hour drive from the city of Seattle, right in the center of the state, at the base of the Cascade Mountains, making it a very scenic location for you to live and study. So Central Washington University is located in Ellensburg. It is a smaller town, but very friendly, easy to navigate. We even offer a free bus system, so you do not need a car in order to get around. Students can also walk, bicycle, skateboard, etc. While it is a smaller town, it's very easy to make friends, build community, and has many activities for you to get involved in. Just here in Ellensburg, we have 36 different coffee shops. So if you are a coffee fanatic, we could be a great place for you. We also offer a farmer's market, a rodeo, music festivals, parades, and many other activities throughout the year for you to experience life here in the United States. So Central Washington University, we were founded in 1891. We currently have about 10,000 students with 350 international students currently coming from 66 different countries. We're mainly an undergraduate institution, so the majority of our programs and students are studying for their bachelor degree. This means there's a lot of opportunities for bachelor degree students to engage in research, internships, and engage with their faculty members. Class size is small. The average class size is only about 25 students. The biggest class you'd ever be in is about 40 students. Campus is huge and beautiful. It's 1.5 square kilometers. It includes a Japanese garden, a greenhouse, a planetarium, a farm, rec center, and much more. We currently offer 19 different residence halls for students to live on campus, as well as 5 apartment complexes. It's only required for first-year freshmen to live on campus. Central students are very engaged in and out of the classroom. So over 135 different student clubs, organizations, intramural sports to get involved in. There's clubs like the International Student Club or the Happiness Club, the Astronomy Club, the Women in STEM Club. So a lot of variety just based on your interests. We are Division II for athletics, so we are the Wildcats, and we currently have 13 different varsity teams. So Central, we has many majors. Today we're going to have that in-depth look at our safety and health management major, but we also offer things within the College of Business, accounting, sport management, as well as graphic design, photography, film, entrepreneurship, or things in the hard sciences like chemistry, biology, physics. So a lot of variety based on your interests. The application process to Central is pretty simple. You can apply online through our online application system, or we're also found on the Common App, so whatever is easiest for you as an applicant. We do have a $60 application fee, and then you can upload your academic records directly into your online application, or they can be submitted via that Common App. For those students where English is not your first language, we do require proof of English language proficiency, which can be shown through Duolingo, IELTS, TOEFL, or if you've completed high school at an English-speaking only curriculum. So studying in the United States can get expensive, especially for international students. So here at Central Washington, we do offer some scholarships to help with those costs. So we have an international student scholarship, which is specifically for you, all international students. Current award amounts are up to $11,000 per academic year. They are merit-based and renewable each year as long as you maintain your grades. All students are considered at the time of acceptance. We also offer numerous departmental scholarships that can be applied for every year based on your eligibility. So things like our Honors College, our College of Business, there's scholarships through our music department, our computer science, our theater programs. So requirements will vary based on the scholarship, and it may require additional essay or audition for each scholarship. Those scholarships can be combined with the International Student Scholarship, and we call that stackable, making it a little bit more affordable to attend Central. And for those interested in pursuing education beyond your bachelor's degree, we do offer competitive graduate assistantships at the master's degree level, and those provide a tuition waiver, living stipend, as well as health insurance. And then here is my contact information. So once again, my name is Stacy. Feel free to contact me via this email address with any questions that you may have, or feel free to peruse our website. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Jennifer Cernay, to review the Safety and Health Management Program, discuss the different classes, types of internships, and career opportunities.
My name is Jennifer Cernay, and I am the program coordinator for the Safety Health Management Program. We offer both a master's and a bachelor's degree in safety health management at Central Washington University. And I am just here today to speak with you a little bit about why you might want to consider being a safety professional as your career, and why you might want to consider enrolling in our safety health management degree and declaring that as your major. So our degree is tuned towards putting people into industry as safety professionals. And why you might want to consider choosing this degree and working as a safety professional is because it is very much a growing profession. Okay, so you are pretty much always guaranteed a job, and people in industry now are very much focusing on safety, especially since the global pandemic has happened. It has really brought safety to the forefront of a lot of industries and a lot of companies, and they are really starting to see that this is a value added position to have, and they are starting to really enforce safety, and they are really starting to consider that to be something that they need to have at their company, and they are hiring more and more safety professionals to do these functions than ever before. There's a study that showed that probably in the next 5 years, there's demand for about 25,000 new environmental health and safety professionals. And there aren't that many programs out there that do have this as a degree program. And so because of that, we're only really going to be able to supply about half of what they need. So I know I can say for my students, pretty much all of them have 2 to 3, if not more, job offers right out the door. No one goes without finding something because it is in very high demand, and we just do not have enough programs and enough students going into this field to meet that demand. So you will get a job. Also, those jobs pay pretty well. The median salary in 2018 was about $97,000. The most common salary range is about $100,000 to $125,000. And those are for people that have a 4-year degree, which is what we have a bachelor's degree that offers that 4-year degree. So you can see it is a pretty well compensated position in addition to being rather in high demand. But on top of that, I think this is even more important to mention is that it is also a helping profession. When people go into medical fields and things like that because they want to help people, or social work or whatever it is, we do that too. We think about the fact that what we're doing, we're on the front line protecting workers from being injured or killed at their job. And we don't have this problem all the way solved yet. We still have about 5,000 workers a year who die on their job site from an accident. And on top of that, every year about 50,000 to 60,000 people die from occupational diseases that they got attributed to something they worked with at their work site. So we still, fortunately, do kill people on job sites at their job, and we do make people sick. So you can literally make a difference in people's lives. You can seriously save people's lives in this career. On top of that, it's never boring. It's never dull. You will have new challenges all the time. If you get tired of one location that you work at or one industry, you can change industries very easily. You can move countries and continents and states, whatever you want. You can move all over the world with these types of jobs. You're going to continuously be learning new skills. It's very much a learning profession, and that is very valued in this industry and is very supported by our professional organizations that allow you access to a lot of professional development and training opportunities, and it's very encouraged. What do you do? So what that sounds great and everything, but what are you actually going to be doing in this job? Okay, basically what we do as safety professionals is we advise employers, okay, and companies and organizations on how to protect their workers from the hazards at their work site, and that is inherent in the things that they're doing to produce whatever it is that company does, right? So we develop strategies to prevent injuries and illnesses to workers. We lead workplace safety and health management initiatives. We help establish risk controls and management processes that promote sustainable and safe working and business practices. And we work very diligently to reduce and eliminate fatalities, injuries, occupational illnesses, and property damage. And so we're seen as within a corporation, something that's very valuable for risk control and really for the bottom line, in addition to protecting people, because accidents and injuries and property damage can be very expensive. So we work very hard to eliminate those hazards and control the hazards and really, put risk at the forefront of every decision that a company makes. There's a lot of different little specializations within safety. So typically people might start out as a generalist, which is what our program does train people to do. But if you look at the list of classes, you'll see we have all these really interesting topics that you get a survey level kind of course in so that you are familiar with it. And a lot of times I find my students really loving one topic. And so then when they get out of the program, they have a tendency to maybe find a specialist position or even go out and get further education in that topic. So we have topics that we cover as a safety professional, like ergonomics, which is really looking at how the human body is put together and the limitations of the human body and of the human mind as well, psychologically, and learn how we learn and how our brain works for memory and all that, and trying to make sure that we don't have mismatches between someone's working environment and how the human physiology and psychology is. So it's making sure that a workplace is set up appropriately so that people can do their work the most efficiently and without injury or without getting ill. Industrial hygiene, we look at a lot of different contaminants, chemicals, things like that, and you learn a lot of processes about how to do sampling for that and determine what employees might be getting exposed to, and you learn how to compare those to limits that have been set in place to make sure we aren't overexposing anyone, and how to put certain controls on certain processes to make sure that we are keeping people below those exposure limits so that we aren't hurting anybody with those types of things. You might go into training where you just basically travel around and you go to different facilities and you do different types of training, on lockout, tag out, all kinds of different stuff. How do you prevent people from getting electrocuted by equipment when they're working on it? How do you, teach people how to safely drive a forklift, right? Or set up a scaffold or anything like that. So you might become a specialist in training. There's opportunities in occupational psychology if you're interested in that. Occupational health specifically, fire protection is another area where, you might be going out to sites and doing audits to make sure they're keeping up with fire code, or helping them develop, sprinkler programs and things like that to make sure that they're protecting their occupants from fire. You can go to environmental management, where you are looking at protecting the environment and what kind of releases a company might have, making sure that you're staying within all the federal guidelines for those sorts of things. You can go into emergency management. You can do disaster response. You can help corporations come back from things like a fire or a severe weather event, things like that. And security is a part of it too. You can also work in security. So it's a very broad survey of a bunch of different little niches within safety that safety professionals get to do. and get to choose from to work in. It's a global profession, so it offers opportunities to work all over the world and across pretty much any industry. Some of these pictures are NASA hires people to work in safety all over the place. Aviation does. Public events, like you can work event safety. I've done that with very large concerts, and I've done work with Live Nation and worked on protecting participants at concerts. You work in construction. Medical safety is huge. Patient safety is a real issue because we still have a lot of issues with patients being harmed. Because medical care doesn't always go perfectly well and the system is kind of stressed. So you can get involved in helping out with that initiative. You can work in manufacturing, you can work in disaster response. So really, there is just a ton of different, really interesting little areas you can go as far as this career goes in a whole bunch of different industries and a whole bunch of different functions. CWU's program is very well regarded. We are an ABET accredited program, which means that we have had this accrediting body ABET come in and take a look at our program, and we are meeting all the guidelines. Our student outcomes are aligned with what industry is expecting for safety professionals, the skills and the knowledge that they need to have when they come out of this field. We've made sure that we are keeping up with that. ABET looks at the quality of our program and makes sure that our students are meeting those outcomes and are getting out of this program being able to participate in the industry at a level that is expected for a beginning professional. We are also a board of certified safety professionals, qualified academic program, which means that typically to get your certified safety professional certification, which is kind of the standard gold standard certification that safety professionals in the field get, you have to take 2 tests. You take it first part of the test, it's the ASP, and then you take the CSP later on. If you graduate from our program, because of the quality of our program and because we are meeting the specific guidelines that the ASP tests for, you actually get out of taking that first test. So you only have to work for a few years in industry and then apply to take the certified safety professional test, and you are able to sit for that exam without taking the first half of the test, basically. So that's a pretty big advantage to students in our program too. You do get to certification a little bit easier. So you do skip the first test. We are very into active hands-on learning here in the CW SHM program. We have tons of labs. We do a lot of things together in person that are very active and very fun for students. You learn how to do rigging, you learn how to operate a crane, you learn all about fall protection in construction, you learn about lockout, tagout across several different modalities in industry. And we do all these things in a very active learning way. We have a lot of props, and our labs are very sophisticated to allow us to try to recreate as much of a real life experience for the field as we can within the classroom. Okay, this is our very large 6,000 square foot state-of-the-art laboratory that we have. It's called the Fluke Lab, and we have a 5-ton crane in there that you learn to safely operate and do rigging with. That kind of box looking item back there in the back is our confined space simulator, where we put students down into a confined space and they learn all about air monitoring in that space, and also how to do a confined space rescue. That green thing on the top is a winch where you will learn to pull another person out of a confined space if they have a medical event or if the atmosphere becomes dangerous for human occupancy. So that's one of the things that we learn in our lab. These are some of our other labs. We have a fall protection laboratory where we have a ton of different fall protection that you learn how to put it on, how to inspect it, how to make sure that it's going to work for the worker, depending on the type of fall protection they need based off of the type of work that they're doing. We have a large amount of fire protection equipment that you learn how to utilize, and what type of fire extinguisher should be used for what type of facility, and how many do you need, and how do you inspect those extinguishers to make sure that they're in working condition. We do a lot of work with electrical safety. You learn how to lock and tag out panels, and how to rescue someone who has being shocked or has an arc flash situation. You learn how to wear all that PPE and basically what the expectations are for electrical safety. So we use these labs in a variety of ways. We have a ton of ergonomics labs where we have a lot of testing equipment where we can test people for how much force they have to put on an object to move it. And you learn about how to improve, certain tasks like lifting tasks and pushing and pulling and carrying tasks for workers that do mechanical work, or handling of materials handling. So we have a ton of sophisticated instrumentation too for industrial hygiene. You learn how to do air monitoring, and we have equipment for that, some of the most cutting edge stuff for that, where you will be taking samples and getting to learn how to send those off to a lab and how to interpret results. We have noise monitoring equipment, we have vibration monitoring equipment, so we have radiation monitoring equipment. So we learn a lot of different type of very interesting laboratory experiences and learn how to use a lot of technology in this program. You get a lot of practical real world experience as well. We do have a very excellent relationships with industry, and they're always bringing people in to do training. We have a number of different industries who will bring in fall protection. They'll bring in first aid training. We do a lot of emergency response stuff with local emergency response teams will come in. Some of these pictures are from a recent full-scale exercise we ran where people had what's called moulage on. They were accident victims, playing accident victims, and we got involved with some FEMA people to do that, and students learned how to lift parts of buildings off of people in case of a building collapse, and how to put out a fire. We have 2 different types of fire simulations and equipment to do that we can run students through. So it is very active. We get involved a lot with industry and a lot with our industry, not only industry partners, but also governmental partners to get a lot of practical real world training done. In addition to that, every student who comes through our program has to do a 6-credit internship. And so you will have an opportunity to choose from numerous different industries and different employers to work for. And over the summer, between the 2 years in the program, you will get to go out and get some real world experience working on a real site as a safety professional, and get mentored that way, which is pretty amazing too. We have very substantial industry support. Every year we have a large number of guest speakers from industry come in. This is an example of a meeting that we had with multiple people from the construction industry who came. They come from Seattle all the time through here to help us with our program and to make sure that the students are getting the real story on what happens out there in industry. And we have a student program where we have a student section of the American Society of Safety Professionals, and that is very well supported by our parent chapter in Seattle as well. They put on events, they bring food, they get catering to come in and talk with students and mentor them. They do a lot of field trips where they get to go to different worker sites and kind of learn, get some boots on the ground experience that way. And every year they bring a lot of donations in as well to donate to the program, to allow us to buy all the sophisticated equipment and allow us to be able to go on these field trips and go to lots of events for students, like conferences, safety conferences, and things like that. It's very well supported. So in a nutshell, if you want to explore a field where you get to help people, you get really well compensated, you are in very high demand, you can work anywhere all over the world. And if you're someone who has some technical skills, but also has those soft skills to talk with people, to help engage with people at their jobs and to mentor them and to help them be safe at their jobs, and to help employers understand the hazards that they have at their site and how to control and eliminate those hazards. And you like communication, you like observation, your problem solving is a huge part of this. And above all, you want to help others. And you want a career that's very stable and is well compensated and in high demand. Safety professional is a great career field to consider. And the Safety Health Management program at Central is a great program to consider to get there. So I hope this has been informational for you. If you have questions about the program, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Jennifer Cernay.